Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of the Computer Business Marketing Show. Today's episode is brought to you by Tech Site Builder. Tech Site Builder is a hosted website builder that allows you to quickly and easily get a clean and professional website up and running for your computer or tech-focused business. Save time and frustration with Tech Site Builder. Learn more at techsitebulder.com. Also, it's brought to you by Computer Business Breakthrough. Computer Business Breakthrough is an online training program specifically designed for IT consultants that's taught by myself and Lisa Hendrickson. In the training, we teach you how to escape the grinding break-fix mindset of cheap clients and feast-famine finances so that you can focus on becoming a truly sought-after expert in your field. This month only, get 50% off the course at computerbusinessbreakthrough.com. On today's show, we have Nigel Moore here to tell us about the top 5 marketing mistakes that he's made in his business life and how to avoid them. We'll talk about why micro-commitments are the best way to build your prospect list, when to know it's time to stop a marketing campaign, and here's a hint, it's probably not when you think, and a marketing tip from none other than Donald Trump. Also, we'll chat about some good options for sending out postcards automatically and other ways you can show your clients that you appreciate them. All that and so much more coming up right now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Computer Business Marketing Show. If you own or work in an IT services business, this is the place to learn how to get more clients, keep them happy, and grow your revenue. You can watch, download, and or subscribe to all show episodes at computerbusinessmarketing.com. You can also catch our live stream on Facebook every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Just be sure to like the Tech Site Builder Facebook page and click on the following tab, and then select See First so that every time the video goes live, it'll jump to the top of your feed. And hopefully you can figure out what time 7 p.m. Eastern is in your time zone, because we just went into, I think we went out of daylight savings times, or we went into daylight savings time. I can never remember, but we basically gained an hour.
Worldtimebuddy.com. That's my favorite site.
Okay, there you go. There you go. And that man with the helpful time tips there is Nigel Moore. He is joining us from across the world in Australia. And he is the founder of the Tech Tribe, which is a global community of MSPs. And he's going to talk to us today about 5 marketing mistakes that he's made over the course of his business life, and then how you can avoid them. So we're glad to have you on the show. Nigel Moore, how are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. I kicked the morning off with it's morning over here, nighttime for you guys, but I kicked the morning off with a surf as the sun was coming up. So I am primed today. I'm in a good spot and loving the world.
I can imagine that's probably a little bit better than a cup of coffee, a surf in the morning.
You can imagine my brain works at 1 billion miles an hour, and if I put coffee or caffeine in there, it just kind of implodes. So the surf is a much better way for me to start the day.
Nice, excellent. Well, I'm a little jealous, but that's awesome that you're able to do that before work. So we're going to have our interview with Nigel here soon. Before we do that, I just wanted to take a peek at the Computer Business Marketing Facebook page, like we do every episode, and see what's going on over there. Highlight some of the good posts that have been happening over there. So the one I wanted to talk about first was a question I asked. I asked the folks, how do you show your clients that you appreciate them? So just kind of wanted to get an idea of what you do to let your clients know that you appreciate them. And the catalyst for this was, I was just thinking the other day, our clients are special. I mean, they were willing to part with their hard-earned money, and sometimes a lot of it, to trust us and put their trust in us that we're going to, take care of. A lot of times it's very sensitive information, or, work on their computer. And so that's kind of a big deal. And I was thinking of ways that I could show appreciation to my clients, saying, I appreciate you for taking the time to put your faith in me. And so I threw that question out there to try to get some ideas from folks. So some people said a typical thing like, just work hard and, show them respect and do a good job. And yeah, that's cool. But I was thinking, of a way to kind of go above and beyond and really, because of course you should be giving them a good service and treating them with respect. And I think that's kind of a given, but what can you do to go above and beyond? So Jamie Hill gave a good tip there. He gives birthday and Christmas presents to every single one of his clients. So that's kind of cool. First of all, you have to capture their birthday somehow. But once you do, that's a cool way to really kind of personalize it, right? Because everybody sends out Christmas cards during the holidays and stuff. But to send them like something for their birthday and to kind of personalize it or something like that, I think is pretty cool. Also, and someone asked Jamie, can you afford to do that for every one of your clients? And he was saying, well, for his big fish clients, he does something special, like send them a gift. For everybody else, he might shoot them an email or send them an e-card or something like that. But just, let them know that you're thinking of them, I think is a great thing to do. Also, Eric Wharton says he buys their office lunch every now and then. And I think that's an awesome idea. If you do on-site work, is if you show up, when you show up, bring some coffee or bring their favorite lunch or, breakfast, bring donuts or something. I know a few, on-site technicians who do that. And I think that's a great idea. And then, that works if you go on site. I don't know how effective that would be if you're, more of a work from home or remote type of a computer business. You can maybe send them something like that. But I don't know, Nigel, what do you think? What are some ways that you've kind of shown appreciation to your clients?
I love getting in people's bellies. And so all about the food. One of the biggest things that I've seen that's really successful is out here in Australia, and I'm sure it's probably all around the world, is we've got these hampers that you can buy that are a mixture of fruit and a mixture of chocolate. And that's such an awesome way to just send that out to a client, especially if it's like we recommend it as part of an onboarding process for every new client is, right. Hey guys, we're really excited to be working with you. Here's something for your belly. And instead of sending out mouse mats and all of these kind of things that are really just marketing and people are immune to it because it's marketing, you're getting in their belly, and your first visit on site after that, they go, oh, you guys are the guys that sent us the chocolate or whatever. And the relationship is kicked off on such a good footing.
Right. I like that. Yeah. So don't wait around until, their birthday or something. It's as soon as you start that relationship with them, send them the fruit and chocolate basket. Yes.
Yeah, correct.
Hit that sweet tooth, but give them something.
Absolutely.
Something
get
healthy.
In their bellies.
Nice. Love it. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So some great ideas there on that post. But just something to think about, just think about your clients and let them know that you appreciate them, sticking their neck out for you and taking that leap with you. And I think they'd remember that.
There's actually one little thing, if you've got, I'm going to duck away from here, but one little thing, even if you've got a lot of clients and you find it hard to try and make something personal, you can even automate a lot of the process with things like these little thank you cards, which they show up handwritten and they can plug into a lot of CRM systems out there nowadays. So you can just automate on day 60 of this person being a client. You can send them a little handwritten thank you note.
Yes. What service do you use for that?
That one is called Thankster. Thankster, and it plugs into a lot of CRM systems, so you can just automate the process. If you've got hundreds or thousands of customers, just a little thank you note saying, hey, we appreciate your business. Thanks for being with us. It goes a long way.
Yes, definitely. Awesome. Just a little personal touch there definitely goes a long way. Cool. We'll put that link in the show notes. Awesome resource. Cool. Another post we had in the group, David Sims just posted a tip for all of us. He said it seems that the small business administration offices here in the U.S. are looking for people who can give presentations to local businesses about cybersecurity. So that's a good opportunity to look out for. That's a really hot topic these days. There's breaches left and right, and people are scared and they don't know what's going on. They don't understand how they can protect themselves, and it's a perfect opportunity for you to reach out to your local business administrations and speak on this subject. Be the subject matter expert, and then you'll be the first person they think about to go to when they have questions or they need help with this kind of stuff. And
So
then,
it's good with that because the media is doing half of your work for you. They're educating the market. You've then just got to go and provide the solution. You don't have to pay to do any of that education.
right. They're scaring your clients.
Yeah, correct. Exactly
Putting
right.
the fear of God in
They're
them.
just setting the perfect opportunity up for you.
You come in as the savior and set them straight. So, yep. Great tip there, Dave. Thanks for that. And
Dave
finally,
is a legend.
yes. And finally, along the same lines as actually what Nigel just mentioned, another Dave Greenbaum mentioned that there's this new service that he was looking into called LOB, L-O-B, and it's actually it looks like it's a postcard sending API, and you can connect into it and connect it to, like Nigel was saying, a bunch of different services, and you can pay per postcard. So if you just have a few that you want to try out with, you can get started for like 70 cents a postcard, or it's got some monthly plans where you can send 100,000, however many you want, postcards. So you can send them, and it kind of works like an email marketing system where you can set up automations around certain events and certain actions that they take, that you can send out certain postcards depending on if they purchase a service from you or something. Just automate all of that. And so that's one that David Greenbaum brought up. LOB, that's another one to look into, along with Thankster. Lots of cool stuff out there that you don't have to sit there and be handwriting postcards anymore.
Absolutely. You can even plug some of those the food hamster things into your CRM as well, and there's APIs that automate them, so you can automatically send your fruit and you can automatically send your card.
Oh man, yeah,
part of an onboarding or a retention or a nurturing process.
Very cool. That's good. We'll have to do like a workshop on that or something to walk through how to set all that up. But I mean, like with if this then that or something like that, you can automate everything pretty much and just work on servicing your clients. Which
Absolutely.
Is really,
absolutely.
What we should all be doing. So cool. Awesome. So if you guys want to join in all of these conversations that are happening in the computer business marketing group, just head to Facebook. Search for Computer Business Marketing. It should be the first group that shows up in the search. And head on in there. We ask you a couple questions really quick just to make sure that you're not a spammer or someone that's just trying to sign up for groups willy-nilly. We'll let you in there and we'll have a bunch of fun. So look forward to seeing you in the Computer Business Marketing group in Facebook. All right, before we jump into the interview today, I just want to give a shout out to our first sponsor, and that is, as you guys know, TechSite Builder. TechSite Builder is my baby. It is the service that allows you to quickly and easily build your own website for your computer business. I think what sets TechSite Builder apart from everything else that's out there is it sits comfortably in between the low end, like Wix, like the free website builders like Wix and Weebly and WordPress.com and all of those, where you can you have the tools available, but it's kind of clunky and it just gives you everything under the sun, and you're not sure what content to add or where to put things to turn it into an effective website for your computer business. Then, of course, on the high end, you have the website services that build the website for you, and that's great if you can afford it. But what if you're kind of in the middle, where you're a solo consultant or you're just getting started, and you want that professional, effective web presence, but you can't afford to pay a high-end consultant to do it? That's kind of what TechSite Builder is for. It gives you the tools to build your own website, but it gives you tools specifically designed for computer business owners. So things like, a contact form right there on your homepage, places for you to put your business map so people can find you, your address, your phone number, and then all of it in the back end is SEO'd to make it easily findable by Google. And then we give you supporting content. So things like your about page and your services page and your home page, we give you starter content so you can kind of get an idea of what you can write there. And then, of course, we provide additional services like blog writing and SEO and that kind of thing to, as you grow your business, you can add some of those services to really kind of take your computer business website to the next level. So if you're interested in that, check it out at techsitebuilder.com. All right, guys, here we are with Nigel Moore. He is the founder of the Tech Tribe, which is a cool community that's made for MSPs, and they got a lot of cool stuff going on back there. I'll let Nigel get into what that's all about. But before he does, Nigel, I kind of just like to dig in a little bit briefly about your background, kind of where you come from, and what led you to the point you are today with founding the Tech Tribe.
Cool. So the 30-second kind of intro is I started in the IT support industry back in late 2002, early 2003, working for an MSP, or back then it was just an IT support company. And over the next couple of years, I ended up being promoted to the general manager and running that business. And through a strange turn of events, which is a story for another day, I ended up kind of inheriting a lot of the clients for that business and starting my own. And that was in 2008. And I was kind of 50 grand in debt because I was in my mid-20s spending money on boats and silly stuff, and ran it from my dining room table. And I was the only tech, I was the only accountant, I was the only bookkeeper, I was the only everything in the business. And I slowly grew it up to the point where we were 6 staff, and then myself and another friend of mine who was running the exact same size business. I was 5 staff and he was 5 staff. We had been in a mastermind together for a while, and we merged our 2 businesses together and created a larger business in 2013. And then in 2016, we went and sold the business, and we had a nice sale, and we had a great team that moved across to the new business, and they're all still, or most of them are still working across there now. And then we took a couple of months off and traveled the world with the kids, and my wife's French, so we spent 5 weeks over there, which was a little bit of a struggle when you don't know the language. I sat there listening to a lot of people talking French and eating a lot of cheese and wine, and that was the limit of my holiday.
Could be worse places you could be.
It's true. This is true. We then came back and then spent another 3 weeks in Bangkok, which was really amazing. I was there for a conference, and I got a pile of friends over there, and we took the kids to eat insects, and they were eating cicadas and all sorts of bugs on the streets over there, which was interesting to say the least. Yes. But we got back, and I always knew that I wanted to help MSPs in some way, shape or form. In the last couple of years of owning my MSP, I was doing some kind of ad hoc coaching to some other MSPs about just different things we'd implemented in our business and whatnot. And because by the end of the time I had our MSP, I'd kind of got it to the point where I was only needed in it about 5 to 10 hours a week, and the rest of the team looked after all the day-to-day kind of stuff. And so I was coaching a few friends in the industry on the side, and I was actually enjoying that a whole lot more than I was running my own MSP. And so that sort of meant the writing was on the wall that you've got to either set it up for sale or do something with it, because it's not fair to be pulling myself out that far from it. Right. And so we went through a process and we set it up for sale, and we did that time around the world. And now I've set up the Tech Tribe, which we launched back in end of February, beginning of March this year. We're in 2017, if you're listening to this sometime in the future. And we're now 7 months old, and we just hit 175 members, paying members last week. So we're growing well. We've got solid plans to turn it into the global premier community for MSP and IT support business owners. And we're loving what we're doing, or I'm loving what we're doing.
Awesome. Off to a good start, it sounds like. So back in the MSP you were running, what kind of services did you provide, and what kind of clients were you focusing on?
So we were typically focusing on clients between 5 and 100 users. That was our kind of area, which is a pretty good market for most MSPs. They're kind of below 5, it's really hard to get enough budget to be able to support an MSP agreement. And anything above 100, they kind of get to the point where they might put their own people in, or they've got much stronger requirements. So I love that whole 5 to 100 kind of size. And we had a couple of different verticals that we had a lot of clients in. One was hospitality, and then professional services. They were our 2 kind of key ones. And which is funny because they're nothing like each other. It just kind of evolved like that. And that was one of the mistakes that we made at the beginning, was not picking a particular niche. We kind of went out and said, we work with everyone. And over the years, that kind of decision ends up biting you in the rear end a little bit. But we made do with what we did. We had some great clients, and we weren't going to get rid of them all. We just had to try and figure out how to make it work.
Right. Cool. So it sounds like, like everyone who's running a business, you're kind of learning as you go, right? Especially the earlier you started, where there weren't groups like the Tech Tribe to help you out. You had to kind of and there was no manual. You just kind of had to
make the mistake.
Or make the mistake.
You just got to make the mistake.
So you wanted to come on today and kind of talk about some of those key mistakes that you feel like were, once you figured them out, they were turning points for your business. So why don't you just kind of get started with one of the first ones you have?
Yeah, good. So these are 5 marketing mistakes that I typically have made. I've seen people make them all the time, and I'm just going to run through a couple of different ways that you can get through each one, or that might give you some pointers on how to handle them. The first one for me is whenever I was doing marketing, when I first started doing marketing, especially in this new business as well, but it relates to any business, is that I wasn't meeting my audience where they were at. In my head, I was always going, okay, well, I'm going to follow this kind of marketing over here that the corporates are doing, and coming up with all this corporate babble speak and kind of all this stuff that my audience was not looking for that. They weren't looking for features and all this kind of stuff. They were looking for someone to build a relationship with them and teach them about IT. And so my first mistake that I was constantly making, and I'll give you an example in this new business. When we launched the Tech Tribe, we had to go out and start to build a bit of a list, and we did that via Facebook ads. And our first Facebook ads, we partnered up with a Facebook ad agency, and they said, you've got to go down this webinar funnel. You've got to create a webinar funnel. And I went, okay, let's create a webinar funnel. And we put all this time and money and effort into creating it. And we had horrible results. We were getting something like $180 per registration. Wow. And so after a week and a half of that, I sat down and I just told them to turn it off. Let's try and regroup. And I sat there for a couple of days and I just went, what on earth is going on? And I went, I've got to put myself into the shoes of who I'm trying to target. And these guys don't want to jump on, like the first time they ever hear of me, they're not going to go and give me an hour or an hour and a half of their time and jump on a webinar from the first time they hear with me. They need to hear a little bit of value out of me, or they need to get a little bit of micro-commitment kind of out of me. So I really sat down and went, okay, what are our frustrations and fears and wants and aspirations, which is a model that I was taught by one of my coaches to go through, figuring out frustrations, fears, wants and aspirations. And I sat down and figured them all out. And one of the biggest frustrations that I hear in our industry is around managed service agreements. And everybody goes, what do you include in them? How do you get them? Like, mine's crap. Can I get a better one? Kind of thing. There's this big thing about managed service agreements and how to price them. Like, really, people really struggle with how to price them. And so we went, okay, I'm going to go and build a guide on pricing managed service agreements. And so we spent hours and hours and hours and days building this guide in a way, just outlining a format for the way pricing can really, really work well in an MSP. And then we went out and started a new Facebook campaign. Instead of asking for an hour up front, we asked them to submit to fill out a 14-second survey, which was just, what's the pricing model you currently use and how happy are you with it? And if you fill out that survey for us, we'll give you our 15-page pricing guide. And that worked gangbusters. We turned our leads from $180 down to $2 per lead.
Nice.
And it was all because right at the beginning, I just went straight out to the market, and I just wasn't thinking about where my customers are at. I was thinking about just what I wanted to do.
Right.
And so that was my first kind of, one of my mistakes, many mistakes that I made, but that's I see that pretty commonly, as people are just not meeting the market where they are right now. You can then use those kind of micro commitments to escalate through the journey, and you're leading your customers on a journey of learning more about you and whatnot. But start with the very, very basics.
Right. Yeah. So you use the word micro commitment. What are some other examples of that you could, MSP or IT service businesses can use to find their customers where they are?
So surveys and quizzes are good because everybody likes knowing a little bit about themselves. And so there's a big movement around what's called a survey funnel in the marketing world now, or a quiz funnel. And MSPs that are going, or IT support people that are going to their clients, maybe you can do a quiz funnel around how protected are you for cryptoware, or how efficient is your business in blah, or how many risks have you got in your business? And people will go, and I'm kind of ad-libbing there, so they're probably not the best surveys to do. If you sit down and brainstorm, you'd come up with a few.
I think that's actually a great survey idea, is to say, are you ready for the next, cyber breach, or, how well protected are you against, a cyber attack? I think people would jump on that.
And if you ask 3 or 4 or 5 questions, maybe 6 questions to get them through those little things, they're just micro commitments. They're not even giving you their email address or their phone number at that point. They're literally just answering a couple of questions. And because they've answered a few questions for you, that's then they're kind of committed a little bit to the relationship with you then. And then at that point, you can then start to say, okay, well, I've got this guide for you, or I've got some value for you, or I've got some training for you, or whatever. shoot me your email address now. And because you've started to build up that relationship with them and they've started to commit a little bit to you as well, you're kind of at a better point now.
Right. And I think this, people listening can really take this to heart, as far as, offering value in little bite-sized chunks, because I can't tell you the number of IT businesses I still see, because I follow a lot of IT businesses on social media, and I still see so many of them. Every post that they create is, here's our new service, try our service, this is what we can do for you, and us, instead of,
Instead of you.
Right. And so, I mean, just kind of take this to heart, and those micro commitments, just little pieces of value, and just taking them into your world slowly, I think is a great approach.
Yeah. And especially in the IT support world, where our sales cycle is not a kind of overnight sales cycle. A customer doesn't come into our world and buy tomorrow. They typically buy 6 months, sometimes 12 months, maybe 18 months down the track. And that means you've got to slowly lead them through this journey of getting to know, like, and trust you before you get to the point where they're willing to go and work with you as their supplier.
Cool. Yeah. And that's something I hear a lot about, folks who like tried Facebook marketing once and it didn't work, and then they stopped doing it. It's you have to have the mindset shift of a Facebook ad is not something that's going to get you a direct sale.
Correct.
One for one. It's a way to nurture leads and get leads into your world, and then continue to nurture them with these micro commitments.
Correct. And then once you do have them in your world, you don't need to ask for the sale straight away. You need to start delivering them some value, and so that you can build up that Nigel and trust factor with you. And things like, even if if you've got them in your email system, even an email once a week or once a fortnight or once a month at the absolute most. It doesn't have to be a big long newsletter. It can just be something simple like, hey guys, there's a new ransomware thing going around. Here's a screenshot of what it looks like. Just make sure you keep an eye out. That's it. Takes you 4 minutes to write, takes them 1 minute to read, and it's just added an extra step into them knowing and liking and trusting you.
Very cool. Cool. All right. So that's a good one. Putting yourself in your audience's shoes, and then thinking about what little bite-sized pieces of information that you can give them, or little small interactions that you can have with them that can lead them into being a client. What's another mistake you found?
Next up is one that I've fell victim to this all the time, and I see nearly every one of my MSPs that I speak to kind of falls victim to it as well. And that's that we think of marketing as this external thing. We always think of marketing as getting new clients, where marketing is a twofold thing. You're marketing to external clients to get new prospects and leads in the door, but everybody forgets about their internal clients. These people that they've already got and they're providing 1 or 2 or 3 services to, where they've got 20 services they could potentially provide to those people. And so to me, it's kind of the low-hanging fruit. If you're going out and you need more revenue in the business and you need some more turnover and whatnot, you don't necessarily have to go out and build a big external marketing campaign. You can come in and have a look at your existing client base. And one of the frameworks I get people to follow through is just listing out your service catalog along the top of an Excel spreadsheet. So maybe you offer hosted cloud, VoIP, hosted cloud backups, BDR systems, what client training on Office 365, whatever it is, all your services across the top. Down the right-hand side or left-hand side, whatever way you're looking at me on your screen, you list all your clients. And then you go in there and you fill out green with you make all the cells green with all the clients that have actually got that service from you already. And then you put in a yellow or an orange for all the people that don't have it, but are probably a pretty good prospect for it, and it could help them out in their business. And then put a red in the ones that they probably will never buy it. They don't have a need for it from you. And then that means all that yellow in there is opportunity that you don't have to go out and start a paid campaign or whatever for. You can go out and just do internal campaigns to those clients. And so that internal marketing is kind of one of those things that a lot of people forget about, because they just think we've got to go get more from we've got to get more clients in the bucket, where you can probably go a little bit deeper with your current clients and still provide them amazing service. And you're probably missing things that they probably do need in their business as well.
And I think that's a great opportunity to take when you add a new service or some kind of new offering to your business, is to revisit that spreadsheet and kind of add the existing clients there and reach out to them every time. Because it's killer to try to introduce a new service to the world, and they've never heard of you before. But to introduce a new service to your existing clients who know, like, and trust you already is a lot easier.
Absolutely. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. So I think that one kind of stands on its own. I don't need to go. We've talked about that before on the show. It's cool. Really, I think it's something important to reiterate all the time, is to look at your existing clients for marketing opportunities, because they're going to be your best ongoing customers. Absolutely. Cool. What's mistake number 3?
Number 3 is not using personality. And the problem I see all the time is I look at websites in our industry and any industry, and they're completely devoid of personality. It's all features and corporate babble speak and all this kind of stuff. And in the small business world especially, people buy from people. They don't buy from features. They don't even buy from benefits as much as they buy from people. And so if you can inject personality, not only personal personality, so that you're showing your team and you're coming across as humorous or funny or strict or whatever you are, whatever your personality is, but you can also have your company have some personality as well. It really, really, really helps throughout that process of people, again, learning to know, like, and trust you. And in my first years of business, I was always just following the trends of the corporate guys and just making everything just corporate babble speak, which ended up getting nowhere. And the minute I started putting personality in any of our marketing and making humor in it and being a little bit self-deprecative, which I am, because from time to time, it really, really, people started commenting and saying, "Oh, I just love how you guys had that in there." What really shone out is that quick little thing in that video. And to me, it's such a fundamental thing that if you want to stand out in a sea of sameness, if you want to rise above that kind of everybody doing the same thing, one of the first things you can do is go and inject personality. Get photos of you everywhere on the thing. Put photos of the team having fun on your website. Put photos in even your email signatures, something basic as your email signatures, just so people know that you're just a human on the other end. You're not this faceless, nameless machine. And so for me, that's another one I see everywhere. I think, as I said, humor goes a long way. One of the ways that that really works for me, and I know there's people who love him and people who hate him, and I'm not going to talk about either side, but Donald Trump, if you throw one of his speeches into this app called HemingwayApp.com, it will tell you the reading and comprehension level of his speech. And he typically speaks at a 6th grade level. Okay. And the reason he does that is because people can really understand it. People don't have to look for word as soon as you put a word like synergy or something like that into there, it pops it up to kind of a 9th or 10th or 12th grade level. But at the 6th grade level, everybody can just understand it. It's easy to read. They don't have to work hard to read. And it's that kind of micro-commitment thing. You're not asking people to read big, long, convoluted text of stuff. You're really leading them on a journey that they don't have to think hard about reading it. They don't have to try and understand complex words and whatnot. And so kind of apps or kind of processes like that, where you're just using personality, being simple, just talking direct and to the point, really, really can help.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a brand of personality. I think Donald Trump's got that market cornered. I mean, his name is on all the buildings and everything. So, you don't have to take it to that extreme, but I think that's a good example of, interjecting yourself into all aspects of your business. And you're right. I see a lot of, even on social media posts and stuff, they'll say, we here at ABC, computer repair would love to fix your computer. Or instead of saying, hey, I'm Mike, this is some of the things I can do, and this is how I can help you solve your problems, and just, being a person, and by the way, I'm a person that runs this company that can help you out, but this is who I am. I know some people are hesitant to do that. They're shy, or they don't think they have enough of a personality. I know some folks don't like their picture out there. So how could folks like that start to infuse personality?
Build a brand for your business instead. So even places like, you look at GoDaddy, we all know that most people know the owner, but GoDaddy, the brand, has got and HostGator, like they're both in the hosting industry. Most people know them, and HostGator's got the Gator as the brand, and that Gator's got personality. And so instead of, you don't have to go and inject personality, like your personality, into it. If you're shy or introverted, like most of us are, and me included, you can work really hard on injecting personality into the business and create a business based around personality. And it can be, it can be super, super simple. Something just super, super simple. Coming up with a moniker for your business or an avatar or something. And
I think
that,
the big thing is to, don't take yourself or your business too seriously.
yeah, correct.
And use and try to avoid all of that corporate speak, because you're right. I mean, corporate speak is there for corporate people to feel like they are, justifying their paychecks. And it's really there. It doesn't help you understand the meaning behind what you're trying to say any better than simple words will.
Correct.
I know a fellow podcaster, Jeff Halash, over at the Podnuts Network, is a big proponent of. He says he throws up a little in his mouth every time someone says like some kind of corporate speak. So I know listeners can relate to that, and so don't feel like you have to go there. Just speak normally, speak plainly, and you're going to attract the type of clients that you're going to work best with.
And be vulnerable, be yourself. If you're a shy, introverted person, use that to your strength. You can market your business as, we're the shy, introverted computer guys that are absolutely awesome at IT. Right. Because we're really awesome at IT, but we're not so great at our social skills. You can turn that into a kind of a story about the whole business.
And I think the whole nerd, putting nerd in the computer name and the business name and stuff was a big trend here recently. Yeah. And I think that's kind of part of that is, hey, we're nerds and we're proud of it, and that makes us good at what we do. So hire us. And I think that's
I saw a T-shirt recently. It was at school, respect the nerds, because one day they will probably be your boss.
Yes, exactly. The nerds eventually take over the world. So
correct.
Cool. All right. What do you got next? What's the other mistake?
Next up is not niching or niching far enough. And I had to put both in there because out here we niche. We don't niche. Yes. We niche. But not niching far enough. And what I mean by that is most MSPs, myself included, when I first started, we went out and said, we can support anybody with a computer and a heartbeat. And what that ultimately meant is we went out and we started boiling an ocean. And good luck boiling an ocean. You'll be there forever trying to do it. And a couple of problems happen. One is, the most important one is, you're never able to get great at something. You can get good and you can get okay, but if you go out and try and niche to everywhere, you can only get okay to good. To be able to, if you niche right down to a particular vertical or a horizontal industry or a horizontal software platform or something, that's when you can really, really get good. And now that relates to marketing in that your business doesn't have to be 100% niched. Maybe you look after accountants and lawyers and financial brokers. They're three different verticals that all operate kind of similar. So you've probably got a little bit of overlap with how they operate. But when you are going to market, your campaigns should be niched. So you should have a marketing campaign focused specifically for accountants, and a separate one for lawyers, and a separate one to financial planners, because their frustrations, fears, wants, and aspirations are all completely different to each other. Yep. And so not niching far enough in your business is a mistake for most people. There's some people can do it well, but it's pretty rare. And you typically can only do it at scale well, not in the kind of smaller end. But not niching far enough in your business offering, so who you support, and then not niching far enough in the marketing campaigns that you push out to them.
Yeah, and I feel like, a lot of people don't do this because the big businesses you see that are out there, the Microsofts, IBMs, whatever of the world, they are, there for everyone. And so you see them and you're like, well, that's what you need to be a business, right? You need to please everybody. But there are so many successful niche businesses out there that you've never heard of because they're in some niche that you're not a part of and you've never heard of it. So don't feel like you can't be successful if you focus on a narrow niche. I mean, that's what I've done. I started running a computer consulting business. I focused it down onto just web development. I focused it down further onto just WordPress consulting, and then so that was the platform. And then I focused it down into a niche, which was serving you guys, IT business owners. And so, I mean, that right there, you think it's such a small world, but really, I've been having my VA do research for me to find like the market that's out there. And I have a spreadsheet of thousands of computer repair businesses in the United States. So thousands of potential clients. And if you can speak to those clients, and that is in any industry vertical, right? You can find thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, even millions of people in that vertical. And then if you can speak to them and become an expert at what their problems are in solving their problems, people will just be knocking down at your door without you needing to do much advertising at all. It's really remarkable.
Absolutely. And the good thing is that the more niche you go in your marketing, the cheaper it is. When you're the big Microsofts and those guys in the world, they've got to spread far and wide, and they've got these big, deep marketing budgets that can do that. when you're small and nimble, like most of us MSPs and IT support businesses are, you don't have the big, deep pockets. And so you need to figure out how you can make your campaigns efficient and effective and not cost you a lot of money. And the best way to do that is to niche right down, because cost per click of a 5-seat or 10-seat lawyer in the Sydney metropolitan area that's between 45 and 55-year-old male is a whole lot cheaper than trying to market to the entire of the Sydney population.
There you go. Yep. It's great. So it's beneficial on lots of fronts to niche down, and don't be afraid. It's never too early either. So even if you're just getting started, you feel like you're limiting yourself by niching, but really you're opening up a world because you're able to laser focus on those folks.
I heard when I heard a story that someone had built $150,000 a year information product marketing business for people that recover piano stools. That's when I realized that the world is big. The world is huge. If you can make $150,000 a year so he was selling a $27 ebook or whatever it was, and he made $150,000 a year business out of selling a $27 ebook to people that recover piano stools.
Wow.
That just kind of shows you the size of the marketplace around the world.
And then the internet makes it possible. So it's
correct.
It's amazing. Very cool. Okay, so what do you got? What's the last tip?
Last one you kind of touched on before, and that's giving up too soon on a campaign. And I see this everywhere. People will go out and they'll go and put a little Facebook ad campaign out, or they'll go and send 2 emails to a cold list or whatever they've got, and they don't get any results. And they go, that failed. And I was exactly the same. I'd go, that failed, and that was it. I'd turn it off, and I'd never do that approach again. And it comes back to that, what I said before is, it's a journey. It's a long sales cycle in our industry, and people need that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 touches points with you sometimes before they'll buy from you. And so consistency is what really breeds results, not giving up too soon on a campaign. That's not to say that you shouldn't give up on certain things of a campaign, but you should be doing it based on testing and data and numbers, not just based on getting no results out of the first go.
Right.
And so when we finally got our Facebook ad campaign working for our current business, after we got those $180 registrations and we finally got them down to 2, to get to that process, we didn't get down to 2 overnight. We spent a couple of weeks and thousands of dollars testing all the different audiences that are out there for that particular ad set too. And so we tested about 60 to 70 different audiences. And we had to do that for a week or 2 just to start to see what those results were and see who responded and see which ones didn't respond and whatnot. And it was all a learning process, which marketing is that. It's just testing, tweaking, and learning. Testing, tweaking, learning. Testing, tweaking, learning. It's kind of that build, measure, learn approach that they have in the lean startup world. And for me, that's one that I see all too often. People just get that first 1 or 2 or 3 little parts of the campaign out, and that's it. They give up. And what they don't realize is that there's probably clients in that funnel that would have just needed one more touch point, and they would have called up. And that's it. So giving up too soon, I did it way too often. And now I know that I can only go by numbers now. I don't go via my gut feel anymore, because my gut feel is always wrong. 100% wrong when it comes to marketing. Numbers don't lie, but my gut does.
So how long do you recommend folks stick with a campaign, or, how do you know whether it's time to call it quits or whether it's just you need that next, touch point?
It's kind of this thing where you've got to try and build momentum. So you've got to go out there and figure out what you can do to at least get a couple of clicks or a couple of people giving you their email address or whatever it is. Because once you get to that point, then you can make decisions. But if you're out there for a month and you're not seeing any results of even people downloading things or taking these micro commitments, then that's probably too long. However, it's tough because every business and every market is different. So it's what works in mine is probably going to be completely different to what works for you. And so there probably is a little bit of gut feel in there.
And I think this circles back to the first thing, right? Where if you meet your audience where they are, if you give them something that's going to be valuable to them, I think you can't really lose. I mean, you do that, and then you build your campaign around that, and then you start tweaking from there.
Correct.
But yeah, if you just kind of think about, what's that valuable, free, valuable content that I can give folks, and they'll start getting interested in it. And then really the decision is where to go from there, right? What do I do? I get them into an email list? Do I keep sending them ads? Do I do remarketing? And then that's where kind of the decisions
or
are
a
made.
bit of each.
Yeah. And then you got to do the testing from there. But yeah, I think that kind of ties back into the first one very well.
Yeah, correct. And it's kind of, when you start thinking about that micro commitment thing, it is much easier to start to get results when you're just working on micro commitments. And a result might just be a click or a result might be a download of something, or it might be an email address. A result doesn't necessarily have to be a brand new client on your books. Yeah. And that's what most people base their campaigns on, is a brand new client on their books. And that's ultimately what you want. You want to figure out your CPA, which is your cost per acquisition, but sometimes that takes a while to figure out your CPA. First, you got to figure out your CPLs, so your cost per lead, and your cost per clicks first, right at the beginning. And start with figuring them out and getting them working pretty well for you. And if you're getting leads for $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 into your funnel, that could be a good thing. And just work at doing that and work at doing that. And then once you start getting a few clients in after those 6, 8, 12 touches, 2, 3, 4 months or whatever, that's when you can start figuring out your CPAs. And your CPA is a really good number to know, your cost per acquisition, because that tells you how much marketing budget you've actually got to acquire a customer.
Right.
And sometimes that takes a long time to figure out. It took us a long time to figure that out. Now we kind of know it for most audiences that we've got. But we just originally started on our CPCs, our cost per click. Like, what cost per click have we got? Does that feel comfortable? Let's try and get our cost per click down and scale that up a little bit. Then we'll focus on cost per lead. Then we worked on that for a little bit. Then we focused on cost per acquisition when we had that data.
Yeah, I think going back to what you said about like the numbers don't lie, it's really just, getting those percentages to work out right. So you're spending enough to get enough leads to where enough of those leads will eventually purchase to where it, offsets the price you're paying up front. I can tell you, I've got clients who like sign up for Tech Site Builder who tell me they've been listening to my podcast since it started 4 years ago. Since I started the first version of it, and they
4
just
years
now
of touch points.
They just now decided to purchase from me. So folks can just be hanging out, enjoying your stuff until they're ready. Like maybe their business isn't at the point where they need you yet, and then when they're ready, they'll do it. But if you're not being consistent, then they'll forget about you and move to someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool, great stuff. Lots of good tips. I mean, we covered a lot in this episode. So I will have links to some of this stuff in the show notes. So before we head out, why don't you tell folks a little bit about Tech Tribe? Maybe pull back the curtain and let folks know what's going on behind the scenes there, and if they might be interested in it.
Cool. So our business model is nice and simple. It's a membership program for MSP business owners. And essentially people get access, when they join, they get access to 3 things. They get access to training. So I teach people all different areas of the business, like how to build a documentation system, to how to hire A players, to how to manage meetings in your business, the kind of stuff that we worked on in our business. And we also have experts come in from time to time. We've just started our expert masterclass program, which we've just got a couple. One's teaching a cool little LinkedIn strategy to help grow your customers. The other one at the moment is just taught a referral marketing strategy. And we put them in as expert masterclasses. So the first little prong of the Tech Tribe is just training. The second part is the resources. So we put in things like managed service agreement templates and proposal templates and employment agreement templates and business continuity plan templates and all those kind of things that you can use in your MSP. So we've got a pile of them. And as we grow, we're only 7 months old at the moment. So as we go, we're going to be adding more and more and more of them. And the last thing is the community. We've got a community of at the moment, we just hit 175 paying members. And so we're growing a community of other MSPs, all sharing the journey together and the challenges and the wins and the downsides and whatnot. And I'm in there coaching people and answering questions for if I've got experience in that particular area, but so is everybody else. If they've got some input on something and whatnot, it's kind of a behind closed doors community, so that's not out in the public. Clients can't find it, peers can't find it and whatnot. It's all behind a closed door kind of thing. So that's essentially what it is.
I think a community like that is so invaluable. And there are, like, people say, there's Facebook groups and stuff that I can join, but when you're in a community of folks who are paying monthly, it's kind of a higher caliber of people that are in there. Yeah. They're more willing to share. They're more willing to share like private details about their business and stuff. And it's just, I've joined a couple paid kind of, mastermind membership type groups, and they're always just, the community part of it is so valuable and something you can't get anywhere else. So just that's probably worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah. Cool. And so that's awesome. What we're up to.
So where can folks find out about that?
www.thetechtribe.com.
Techtribe.com.
Nice and simple.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, go check that out. I think Nigel's got lots of valuable insights that he can share just on this podcast, but also in the group. So I definitely check that out. Nigel, stick around. We're going to have the rapid fire questions for you here in a minute. Before we get into that, though, I just want to give a shout out to our second sponsor. And this sponsor kind of ties into some of the stuff we've been talking about. This is Computer Business Breakthrough. This is a training program for, or we call it a business acceleration program for IT entrepreneurs. And really the focus of Computer Business Breakthrough is for solo consultants. If you're trying to do, if you're by yourself, or maybe you have an employee or two, and you're just doing break fix, or you're trading hours for dollars, and you're kind of in that cycle where you're just getting burnt out and you're working too many hours. Computer Business Breakthrough is built around the idea of finding a niche, looking for a specific service that you can niche in and becoming an expert at that. And it's taught by myself and Lisa Hendrickson. Both of us have had experience with this. So Lisa niched into Office 365 and Outlook. And now she's like the queen of Office 365 and Outlook, and she's built her business on that. And for me, it's been the web development and specifically WordPress. And so we kind of walk you through our journeys in our business and talk about the experiences we've had. We talk about how to choose a niche, how to be able to set your prices as a premium consultant. We talk about service delivery, choosing partners, because if you're going to niche, you're going to need to find partners to help you with all of the services that you don't do. And then we get into a lot of marketing stuff, specifically on the internet. We talk about, blogging and webinars and your website and podcasts and video, all that stuff. So you can kind of pick and choose what works for you out of that pile. And then we get into some of the backroom stuff like operations and analysis, analytics. And then talk a little bit about growing and scaling, which both Lisa and I are still experimenting with and still working through ourselves. So it's kind of, we take you along with us. We give you behind the scenes of our businesses and what we did. And then, of course, there's a private Facebook group that you can join and get some feedback there. So it's a cool course. It's just a bunch of videos that you can kind of go through at your own leisurely pace. And it's cool. The folks that have been through it have really, it's been really inspiring for them and kind of got them to think in a different idea other than, just fixing computers all the time. What can I do to establish myself as an authority and then capitalize on that and build a good business out of that. So check it out. All through the month of November, we're giving a special discount for just folks who are listening to the podcast and who are on our lists. For Computer Business Breakthrough, you're going to get 50% off the price for the training. So check it out at computerbusinessbreakthrough.com. All right, Nigel. So we have come to the lightning round. So I just got a few quick questions to ask you, and just come up with an answer off the top of your head. Doesn't have to be.
This could be dangerous. It's live.
Right. This is the fun part of the show. So what do you think, in your estimation, is the biggest mistake that business owners are making with their marketing today?
The biggest mistake, giving up too soon.
Okay. Yep. That's a good one. I think we can all relate to that because we've all done it. Yep. Okay. What kind of marketing do you believe gives the biggest bang for your buck? So some kind of paid marketing.
Consistent marketing. And in terms of IT support businesses, I haven't seen a lot of businesses yet have great success with Facebook, because it's especially at the top of the funnel, to try and get leads in the top of the funnel. It's kind of a more retargeting thing further down the funnel. The most success I'm seeing people have is organic LinkedIn strategies, of which there's a few good ones out there.
Wow.
As well as Google PPC. But we all know Google PPC costs rise over time. But there's a few really good LinkedIn kind of organic strategies where you can even get your one of the masterclasses in our thing that a guy called Nate Freeman just did recently, where you can get your ideal clients to send you connection requests rather than you doing it to them. It's a kind of 20-minute daily process, and I'm seeing a few people have some pretty good results with that kind of stuff at the moment.
Yeah, I've been seeing something similar, and I think LinkedIn is a big untapped resource, and it's the way they're growing it is it's becoming a much better, much more social kind of place, and there's a lot more interaction going on over there. So I'd love to. Actually, that's one of my questions. I'll go, it's my last question, but I'll bring it now. Is who should I interview next? And I am looking for like some LinkedIn experts or someone who can speak about LinkedIn. If you know anybody.
Andrew Moon. He runs a course for MSPs called LinkedInforMSPs.com.
Beautiful.
He's built a course, and he's got an amazing strategy that you can go pretty deep into. The guides MSPs pretty deep into figuring out their own organic LinkedIn strategy, and he's getting some ridiculously good success out of his clients with it.
Love it.
And I can put you in touch with him, so I'll shoot you an email intro.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah, because, a lot of the topics I have on the show are for selfish reasons. I'm looking for like info for myself. So that's definitely one that I'm looking to get better with is LinkedIn. Cool. Okay, cool. And my favorite question is, what aspect of marketing are you struggling with these days?
Copywriting is the hardest thing for me. Okay. And it's hard to find, especially for me. I'm a little bit pedantic, and although probably most people are, I'm not trying to be special there, but for me, I've really struggled. I've spent thousands and thousands on different copywriters, and I've really struggled to find someone that speaks in the voice that I want to speak in. It's tough. I guess, yeah, it is. It's really, really tough. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to work through at the moment, because most of our marketing copy is currently being built by me, and that's a roadblock. That's a kind of a stranglehold in how much marketing we can put out.
It's a time suck.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. It takes a
lot of time to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you figure that one out, let us know. I think we're all looking for that magic bullet as well. Yeah. Excellent. Well, hey, Nigel, it's been a pleasure. I love chatting with you. It's been a lot of fun. I hope folks got a lot out of this. Thanks again for being a guest. And you guys can check out Nigel's stuff again at the Tech Tribe. And he's got a lot of stuff going on over there at mytechnologybusiness.com. Thanks again, Nigel, for being a guest, and hopefully we'll be able to have you again in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Let's keep the conversation going. Head on over to computerbusinessmarketing.com. And especially if you're listening to this recorded later on your iPod, or nobody has an iPod anymore, on your iPhone. Head on over to computerbusinessmarketing.com. In the show notes section for this episode, there's a comment section. Go ahead and leave any comments you have, any questions. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, over there, you'll see all the links that were mentioned in this episode in the show notes. Also, don't forget to join us in the Facebook group. Just search for Computer Business Marketing in Facebook and request access. Can't wait to see you there. Finally, if you listen to the show on iTunes or Stitcher, we love to get those reviews from you guys. Let us know what you think about the show. All of those reviews help us get found better on those platforms. And the more people who find us, the more cool guests we can bring on. And it's just a win-win in that situation. So definitely, if you haven't yet, leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to this podcast. Finally, don't forget to check out our sponsors this episode. It was Tech Site Builder and Computer Business Breakthrough. Thanks again for checking out the Computer Business Marketing Show. My name is Matthew Rodella, saying here's to your success.